So, something that I found very interesting in my research was that coding and baking were a lot alike. You have your sequences in coding where you start with sequence and then you go on and down and down and down. So, you have your set steps. Um, what I saw listed was about 6 steps, but each program, each code is a little bit different, so there might be more than 6. Just like with baking. With baking a cake, you start off with gathering your ingredients and you put them together into a bowl, which would essentially be your data storage. So you have your 3 eggs and you have your 1.5 cups of water or 1.5 cups of milk and a half a cup of oil or 1 cup of baking soda or powder or vanilla extract, which would be 1 teaspoon. So you would have all of these little ingredients that you would need to make sure that you put together in the correct manner. And when you set it all together into your storage, which is your baking bowl, your mixing bowl, excuse me, when you put them all into your mixing bowl, then you would mix it together, and hopefully at the end, after you've mixed it together, put it into the tin and then baked it for a set amount of time, what you would get at the end would be a cake. According to Emily de la Pena on her article where she speaks about coding and baking are a lot alike, she says that when you follow the recipes of baking, it's a lot like following the sequences that you would use to make a code. You wouldn't start at the end and then start throwing things into a oven that's on and hope for the best. You would start at the beginning and you would make sure that you followed each sequence correct. And when you follow each sequence correctly, then at the end, you would have your product or you would have your program. But if you didn't, you would have to start over, which is where you would come in with looping. And with looping, the end result should always be what that program is supposed to do. Just like the end result should be for baking a cake. A cake. So if you were to do the sequence 3 times for a cake, you should get 3 cakes at the end. But if you did it and you did it a little bit differently each time, the end result is going to be different. So she talks a lot about the things that she's learned through coding, how arithmetic and algorithms are the same as for in recipes, and how you would go from step 1 to step 8 or step 1 to step 6 or step 1 to step 3 in the specific order. But if you didn't, the result that you would get at the end would not be the result that you are supposed to get. So at the end, your data in should get you a cake, which is your data out. But if you don't do that, what you would get at the end might not be very edible.